Let's see, Johnny's on his way, but we do have a quorum, so we're all set that way. Steve, would you start with introduction?
Sure. Steve Warzek, ACSD Vice Chair.
Christina Macklin, I'm the Addison Northwest School District Rep, and I live in North Ferrisburg.
Nicole McTavish, Superintendent Report.
Keith Farnigan, Chairperson from New Haven, and Mount Abraham Community Watch Member.
Laura Harthead, ACSD representative on board.
Vance Bishop, Middlebury at large.
Steve Fox, Middlebury at Large.
Liz Sayre from MAUSD.
Linda Barrett, Clerk.
David
Roberts, Director of Operations. Personnel.
Behind me, except a lot of water, if you need one. Anyway, I need a motion to approve this agenda.
I move we approve the agenda as warned.
And a second.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Motion to approve the June 18th meeting minutes. You guys seeing any changes? I need a motion to accept that.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Christina. And a second?
Second.
Lauren? All those in favor, please. Any public comments? So we have the consent agenda. I don't know if we're going to have anybody from the business office. He's over there. Thank you, David. Want to go through those before we...
Yep. So for June, I'll do June and July. June, we had $255,000 worth of general fund expenses, AP checks. We had $516,000 in payroll. Just a reminder, that's to finish all the teachers out for the year. So that's payment through end of August for all the teachers. $2,332.85 for adult ed, $3,900 for the Makery, which was the last expense for the Makery. Remember, it's closed out. $11,608 for the enterprise account, student activities $13,000, scholarships $1,500, and birth $5,243. Total of $809,522.79. For July, we had $270,000 in AP checks from the general fund. Our payroll was $174,000. $41 in adult ed. Enterprise was $792. Student activities was $2,300. Scholarship fund $57,300. I just want to point out we moved $50,000 from our National Bank of Middlebury to our M&T account because we invested that in a CD. We had $50,000 extra. So we moved it over so we could invest that in the CD. Our CD expired, so we just increased the CD by $50,000. And for a total of $505,462. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Any questions for David? So I need a motion to accept the consent agenda. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I'm hearing no discussion or questions. If we want to approve that, I need a raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Yep. Anybody opposed? I don't think so. So motion carries. Thank you. All right, next, action items. We need to appoint a board member for the district merger process. I believe there was a discussion with Dan briefly, and you know that rule, if you don't come to the meeting? Good. Sure.
So the board might remember that there are two separate and parallel processes going on at the state level. There's an administrative process, which is the CESA, the Cooperative Education and Service Association process, which is do the district want to share services essentially. to which the board appointed me to be our representative, and that's the administrative side. Then on the governance side, there is the district merger committee process, where the different boards are going to decide whether or not they should merge districts in a geographic area. In our geographic area that we've been assigned is the usual suspects in this area, which is us, Mount A, Addison Northwest, and Lincoln. I think that's everybody. And so our board has to appoint a governance person, so one of you, one of the board members of this board, to represent us at those meetings. They have not yet sent out a schedule of those meetings. I have no information at this time if the meetings will be in the day or at night or anything. I do know that we have to send someone, and it'll be very important that the person can commit to attending all of those meetings, because especially in the position that we're in, where it's likely that this district will become part of something else over time, we definitely want a voice in that process. I can't give you advice whether or not it should be somebody from a sending school district, because they will also be at the table, right? Or not. That is something that the board might want to discuss, but we do need to appoint that. There's a timeline, and we need to appoint it before our next meeting happens. So this is that time for the board to discuss and choose amongst yourself to be our representative.
Composition of the group, doesn't the CESA also include CEUS?
That's the administrative one, yeah.
Right.
The CESA group that I represent us on is a big group all the way from East Burlington down to Rutland, pretty much. This other group, that's a much smaller geographic area that they've created. And there is a process that whoever's our representative will be talking about, where that group can include other districts or exclude districts too. So that'll be another piece of discussion in that group for the mergers, because they can invite other districts to be part, or they can not.
Is it gonna be a year-long process? And my second question is, have they already chosen an executive board for this merger committee yet?
They have not, that I am aware of. Again, the only thing that we've received as superintendents from all of this legislation is essentially an email from both VSBA and from VSA that says, don't ask us any questions because we don't know the answers. Here's the legislation, and then reiterating what the legislation is.
And this is getting reported to the AOE?
We have to report, I will look, I can't remember who I send the email to, but there will be a leader. I don't know if they elect the leader from inside of that group or whatever. And then I do know that as a result of the conversation, the group has to either declare that they are in fact going to merge or explain why they have decided not to.
Liz?
Oh, there'll be a Vermont Learning Collaborative is one of the groups, and they'll be a facilitator for it. But I thought, so I read the bill, and are we, so in this one, I guess I'm not remembering clearly our role on this one. I thought my understanding was that we weren't required to be in, are we, I know we can vote our way out of it and onto another merger if we wanted to, but that was MAUSD. So are we a part of this? Like really, like we have a voting member, not like the CESA, like we are on this. We are expected to explain why or why not we would merge with other districts.
Right, since we are a district, we advocated successfully to have a seat at the table.
Okay.
We do not get a vote.
Okay. But I think it was really, I thought it was like they wanted to make sure that all of these merger study committees had a lot of advice from the career centers to be sure that all of the students in these merger situations had full access to CTE, right? Like our role is to make sure everybody knows where we are and what we're doing and then figures out how to get their kids here, right? Like, is that, I guess that was my.
Right, the language was pretty explicit. It actually spells out the importance of career technical education and access to career technical education, which I think is one of the reasons why we were successful in getting a seat at the table. However, there was a distinction made because our board and our students are otherwise represented, right, through sending districts. So the decision was made that we wouldn't also get a vote. So we get to take part in the discussion, we get to do the education. Whatever happens, the committees or the robust discussion that occurs, we get to be part of and be help informing the group and answering questions but just at the end of the day, we don't have a vote. But this group will definitely be an important part of the discussion since it's actually spelled out in the legislation.
That we're important. And then just to follow up at our, Tuesday, we had our retreat for MAUSD, and it came up a lot that why doesn't Hannaford merge with the other districts, right? Like, why isn't it a part of everything else? And what I said was, I shared that, and I think Dan would be perfect because he followed everything so closely and he's already been advocating and explaining and he has a real sense of everybody. I think he's a great option if that's so that he would want to. But they, so I tried to explain that my understanding was our board would have to like do a vote. It didn't seem like we were gonna merge or like we have to push our way into the merger somehow. Or is this merger study, we would be advisory, like maybe they could choose us as advisory to join, right? Something like that. Like I just feel like we're not inherently expected to have this district not be here or to join a county district. I'm not saying this well at all, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking through it because it was clear that my board, the general consensus was Hannaford should become a part of the new merged district. And my feeling was that I just shared that I thought that was unlikely and that we weren't in my opinion, right, from everything that I've heard, right, like, is that we wouldn't likely take ourselves from where we are and put ourselves in the position to merge with them because we're not currently in the spot where we're required to do that. Does that kind of make any sense? And what if it doesn't, please tell me.
Right, I think the intent is that this group together will make a determination what's best for the region. Do
Even
we all
us.
merge, including us?
They would make a recommendation for us.
Well,
Okay.
all the districts, so do all of the districts merge in our little region? Do only some of them decide to merge? Do we merge with somebody? It's actually an open question.
An open question.
It's an open question to which this board will send a representative to help make the decision. And I can't predict the outcome.
We don't know.
Right, I don't know what the team will decide.
It isn't the ultimate goal. Mergers have to be created, right?
Right,
On some level, little level, big level, whatever. That's what the task is to make mergers happen.
But we're not in that. Hannaford
Yeah,
isn't in
we're
that.
our own district.
Right, but we're not in this conversation in the same way as our sending districts are.
we actually are.
Yeah.
But I
think
mean,
we
we're
are.
not,
We just don't get a vote.
so not getting a vote doesn't mean that we're, okay. See, that's,
Yeah,
okay.
because we're our own
Yes.
school district, right? So we're lumped in with all the other school districts.
Because we have to do reports and we have to do so many things from our schools.
Right, the difference I think is, like Burlington Tech, let's take them for an example, they are already encompassed within the Burlington School District.
Yeah.
So that superintendent of the Burlington School District will be sitting with the other superintendents in their geographic region deciding how or if they're gonna merge. Because we are literally a separate district in our region, we actually get to sit at the table and talk with the other districts just in the same way. It's just because we have overlapping membership and constituent groups, I think that's why they decided to not give us a final vote.
Would we want to, because if we can vote our way out of, our board can vote us out of one and into another, I don't have a strong opinion at all, but would we want to vote our way out of this one and into one that was maybe with other CTEs? You know, I'm just throwing that out there, like just as a thing, like we can choose which merger study committee we join, and right now we're on this one. So my understanding is that that's an option for us to say, we want to be a part of a different contiguous one, but since we're a CTE, maybe it could be other CTEs. And maybe not, like, I don't know, because there's only 4 other independent ones, right? Or we're one of 4 or something, right? I don't know.
Steve, question?
Oh, no, I was gonna clarify the thing about most CTEs are already attached to a district.
Right. They're
We're
attached to-
one of only 4.
What are the other 4 that aren't?
Right.
Who are they? Do you know? What the
Not
other
near
ones are?
us.
They're not physically
No.
Right,
close.
there's, I'm probably gonna forget one. Central Valley is a separate one. River Valley is a separate one. We are, and then, I'm gonna forget North. I can look it
And
up.
there's 16 total.
Well, there are standalone, are 4 standalones. Then there are a number of 12 or 13 that are part of a district. And then there are some that are associated with private school. And then there is one that's Missisquoi, which is just a legacy situation where they have some programs, but they are not really considered a real CTE center, although that's just, I mean, it's just very complicated, but they are kind of in their own category. The overarching hope, the language of the merger committee is that the goal is to get to a grouping, however that works, of at least 2,000 students. That's the goal in the language. And Liz is correct that the team, once it comes together, can decide to vote people, to vote themselves or others off or onto the island. So it's gonna be an interesting mix when we first get there. I think with our region, I think we've known for a long time we were gonna be with this group. I mean, we sort of been identified as a group that seems geographically logical. But at the table, I don't know what's gonna happen, right, when the actual boards start talking.
It's gonna be a task to
Yeah.
get, it's gonna be a task.
I will pray to make, in speaking with Mark Koenig, the VSBA piece and interpretation of this whole thing, the member that we're gonna appoint has to be somebody who's gonna be on the whole time during this process. In other words, it can't
Right.
change. So that's just a clarification piece.
Yes.
Like I said, there was a brief discussion with Dan. Is there anyone else sitting here that's interested in doing it?
If Dan ends up not being able to do it, I would be willing to do it.
Okay.
But as the primary, and this is what we heard, is that this initial meeting is an organizational meeting, and it's not clear how the board is gonna be composed or governed after that, so there may be additional representation selected.
Wouldn't be bad either.
And the other thing that's come up is, well, if Lincoln gets 1 vote and ACSD gets 1 vote, that seems a little unbalanced. So that's,
Oh, it's Lincoln, I forgot.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
and Lincoln, not merger prone, shall we say. And so, there's a lot of things that need to be hashed out about this whole process. And
But good faith is huge. Construction
Hopefully.
funding coming with it, 75%.
Right.
If you don't have good faith conversations, you could lose it. So are we just not considered a district? Because we're a district of what, 350 or something? And if you have less than 750, you're required to merge. But they're not considering us a district because our kids are members of other districts.
Well, we are a district.
we are districts.
We are a district, yeah.
Legally, we are, but we have 0 students. Like, what's our
No,
student
we
count?
have, 155 FTE? with the
Right,
students?
so the way that it's set up is we come to the table just like Virginia, Addison Northwest, just like Lincoln, just like Addison Central. That at the end of the day, though, we just don't get a vote on what the group decides, because it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting, actually, to see, because there are very differing, the communities have really different ideas about merging or not merging.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that it says that we can, I'm not saying that we would, but there is an outlet for any of the districts in, Lincoln or Addison Northwest or us or whoever, that if we don't believe that we're in the right group, we can, the board of that district can vote to be in a different group.
Right.
I don't know what the mechanism for them to allow you to come, but you can ask to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you probably can form multiple districts within this group, right? You can like break people into smaller, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
The bag knows what's gonna happen. But I would make a nomination for Dan to be this person for us.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Dan, you're not here.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And again, the conversation whether or not an alternate can be appointed, that's the thing that bothered me, is that you have one person with all these meetings.
Yeah,
You know, anyway.
And
but
that's
thanks for
why
offering
that,
to do that.
yeah, well, that's why that other thing that we were told at the ACSD, that this first person, that's an organizational meeting.
Right.
And then they're gonna decide how to compose it, and that there could be other representatives. I think we have 2 or 3 people tapped, or that want 2 or 3 people to volunteer for ACSD. Cause it's like, yeah, we gotta get one, but that's that one that has to be in by the deadline.
What's the deadline?
After that, it's
September 13th or something.
September 13th.
Hold on here, I can tell you.
Our board hasn't talked,
Yeah, I looked and it was gonna be before our next board meeting,
Yeah.
so.
And it does say
September 1st.
we have to give the merger committee needs to give special attention to small districts. So that would include Lincoln here.
Right, Lincoln has a seat at the table too, and they get a vote.
They're like, make sure that you give them attention. Even if we have more from other districts, we gotta make sure that we take care of them.
yes.
So contiguous is the definition of that, purely physical. I guess I didn't look it up. Like when it says you could join with only a contiguous district.
Yeah, I think they were, I think they were worried about maybe, I don't know,
Like-
maybe small districts that didn't wanna become part of a big district, but so that they would be like around the state. I think they were just worried about that.
About not leaving people out. Okay.
Next, have we voted on this? Yeah, I did not think so. So I need a motion to, you've nominated him,
Oh.
you seconded it, but we need to vote, and that's all recorded. Correct, Linda? We all set? Thank you. Okay. And next, superintendent's report.
So the board might remember that we are moving from our current system where we record grades and attendance, which is called Jump Rope, to a actual student information system. We have chosen to go with PowerSchool because that is what's mostly used in the state, and all of our city and school districts use it, and it's pretty much a nationally recognized product. So we began our training, our staff is back and we began our training with that. And I want to just give a huge shout out to Jillian and Tracy Crossbaker, who's our counseling coordinator, David and Dan and Shannon, who spent almost all summer doing the back end work to get us to the point where we could do the training with the teachers. It was an enormous amount of work. And this is one of those things that was really totally student driven. So we discovered through, it was very interesting because we were doing some advocacy with the AOE, trying to help them understand why the proposed graduation requirements were problematic for CTE. And in doing so, we pulled a number of students' transcripts from our different sending school districts. And it became very obvious, very evident very quickly how different students received credit for what they earned here. Not that any given situation was better or worse, it was just not equitable. Some students received more credits than others, some students received their industry credentials were on their transcripts, some they weren't. Some had their college credits on their transcripts, some they weren't. Some incorporated the college grades into their GPA, some didn't. So it was just all over the board. And then we also discovered that within our own system, if a student went to a sending school that didn't, for example, record their college credit or their industry credential, there is no way in our jump rope system to account for those things. So if a student came back to us, let's say 6 years after graduation, wanting to show that they in fact earned their LNA certificate or their diesel mechanic certificate or whatever, we would have no way to do that except for digging through like literal files. And that just seemed inequitable to students. So we met with the staff and we presented all of the data and showed them the situation and told them that we knew that this timeline was probably too short to do this the way we would all want to do it. But that because it was the right thing to do for kids, we really were recommending that we pushed forward and with Power School. And they agreed, the staff was great. So we have spent the last couple of days training on Power School. It has gone mostly smoothly. We have found a couple bugs, as you always do, as you're setting up a new system, and we are finding ways to solve those in real time for teachers. And I'm really excited that we're making this transition, although it certainly is hard. So that's going to take up a big amount of our energy, especially probably the first month of school. So we have reached out to all of the sending schools. We sent them a letter saying, hey, just so you know, we've moved to Power School. We don't think it will make much difference to your site, but here are some of the things. Our course names had to change to be standardized. Our periods had to be changed to be standardized so that when they look at our schedules, it'll look all different. So we did a push out of communication so that our sending school districts understand what's going on over here. But I just wanted to give you that heads up because that's always a big transition when you're moving your entire data, back end, scheduling, registration, all of that is moving over.
Any questions? Anything else? Nicole?
I don't think so at this time.
Do you have any information on field days, by any chance? I mean, I went out myself, it looked great.
So field days was really fun this year. I think the board mostly knows that we have all of our FFA students, so all of our students that are part of the FFA or enrolled in a class that is adjoined to FFA. We run the dairy bar and the food booth out of the fair the whole time. It's a really big push. It's a lot of work for our teachers, but it went great, and David could probably tell how much they actually made.
I don't know the exact numbers, but like the food booth makes about $30,000 and the dairy bar makes around 15-ish.
And then in addition, David put together, we had a separate booth because the board remembers we had that 69 Thunderbird donated to us by a community patron, which was fantastic. And the auto shop kids fixed it all up, and then we got it detailed, and we're selling raffle tickets for it. And we're selling only 400. We're going to do the drawing on September 26th when we have our event out at North Campus. And at field days, we sold over 100 tickets. So we're well on our way. And the tickets are $50 a piece. So this is all going into our tractor fund. As the board knows, we need a tractor out at North Campus. So that was pretty exciting. And I was there, I think for 7 or 8 hours. Yeah.
You took one for the team on that.
Yeah, at first it's like, oh, right, but then you go and the entire time, I'm not even kidding, I had people stopping by. They went to the career center, their kid went to the career center, their family went to the career center. We saved somebody's life, right? Their student did this thing and then now they're off in New York doing the thing, right? It was so gratifying and so wonderful to hear all of the stories from just everybody who passed by. They would stop and go, tell you their story. And whether or not they bought a ticket, it did not matter, but it was so fantastic to hear all of the stories. So, it was really gratifying. It was a lot of fun. It was.
I also heard that several of the people who came to the booth said they'd buy a ticket, but they're going to turn around and donate it back again to do it again.
Oh, well, that would be even better.
Which is
kind
kind
of
of
next year.
And it was good to see so many different staff people out there too.
It was really fun.
I have a question not related to that, and maybe David's going to talk about it, but I was wondering if you could update us on North Campus project and where that's at.
Yeah,
We'll
well,
just do that in the
Is that going to be part of your thing?
yeah.
business manager section.
That's fine.
North Campus is going great. They have almost finished everything. There's a little work that we're doing out at the barn to finish up. The roof is done. The ERUs are coming they're coming earlier in the middle of September, so we're trying to figure out when we're going to install those. No one can be in the building when they lift them up, lift the ones off and lift the new ones on, so we just got to coordinate with that. The diesel shop looks amazing, the new floors. We have new temperature controls and new filters and air filters, and have tried to deal with some of the noise upstairs. We've replaced all of the doors, the big doors, all of the mechanics and the seals and all that kind of stuff. We repaired all the windows in the building, all the rubber was, they did it actually here too. So yeah, it's a great project. The little kitchenette is just really cute and going to be very useful. Alan's excited because now we can finally get rid of all the refrigerators and the microwaves in people's places, which is not great. So that was great. We're still almost done, but everything's ready for school.
Awesome.
Thanks.
The only thing I was going to say just on the business management report is just to let you know, we have drawn down, as of today, we've drawn down $450,000 on our line of credit. We should receive a $550,000 payment in the next few months. So we'll continue to see that going up until we start getting those payments from the beginnings of education. All normal course of business, but I just thought I'd let you know.
How's the addition of the welding lab? How are you?
Oh,
How's that going?
here at main campus, we renovated the welding lab. If you guys haven't seen that, you should just take a peek. We knocked a wall out and expanded it. Shout out to Dylan Vose, the welding instructor, spent all summer here just working his tail off. Super impressed with him and excited for him, and he's excited and he's very proud of it, so that's all good. I think it's 16 kids in there, or 15, something like that. We did some work. We got rid of some equipment in advanced manufacturing and moved some things around. And we finished up the electrical lab and did a little painting on the floors in construction. So those were kind of the bigger projects that we did here at the campus.
Right. And the beds showed up,
And the what?
the beds,
No, the beds have not shown up
they
yet.
have not, okay.
We're still communicating. They're trying to figure out when they're getting their new ones, and they'll give us the old ones. And then the last thing is we're doing work on the playground. So I don't know if you've noticed, we've started cleaning. We got a report from our insurance company that says, you know, there's some things that you guys need to remove. So we're working with Parent Child Center to do that, and just on a longer term plan to clean that and make it neater, more efficient. I think that's all.
Question. Did the electric bus situation resolve itself?
Oh, yes. You know, we sent it back. We broke down on the way, and we had to have it towed to them, and we left it where it is and left quickly. And then I sent a note to them and said, this is all the things that happened. We paid for the towing to get it back and thanked them for their efforts, and that was it.
Okay.
Haven't heard back.
Nice try.
The bus 3 did pass inspection. So, well, we have to put a new bumper on, that's happening now, and there's something else, but it's less than $2,000 or $3,000 worth of stuff. So we're fixing that, and we're gonna hope it'll last another year. But we certainly are gonna have our eyes out for a used bus.
Any other questions? The business office.
And Austin's on vacation for 2 weeks, and he'll be back next week. So we are so excited that he was able to take 2 weeks off.
Yeah. Alrighty. You want to talk a little bit more about CESA, or CESA? Oh,
The CSAC group put out this document, which I thought might be helpful, so I just included it for information for the board. Again, this is the administrative side where we're deciding if we want to share services across districts. And that's the larger group, sort of the Champlain Valley districts. And I thought it was a nice, concise document, so I thought I would share it with the board.
any questions on that? Seeing none. Any, no public here, how about board members, anything on the topics we'll be working on? Nobody's got any questions. Awesome. Board reflection, going around, tell me something exciting or fun that you did this summer? Did you?
Oh, we went to the beach, and my middle son was there, and he brought his girlfriend.
Where, what beach?
Emerald Isle in North Carolina.
Nice, nice.
Away from Germany.
Yeah, thanks. Good. Christina?
Oh, I sent my daughter off to British Columbia and spent a week at our cabin in Maine. Just
I'll skip, I'll be back. Go ahead.
We went camping for 5 days in Maine, 3 days at Acadia National Park, which was really good. Good time. I was real happy to be home.
Yes, Mom.
Tent camping, let's
Yeah.
be clear.
Off the list, yeah. Vance?
We did a trip to Idaho, and my 13-year-old hadn't been to Yellowstone, so we did a quick little thing in Yellowstone and Tetons.
Great tea times. Steve?
Got to visit my new granddaughter.
Congratulations.
Thank you, little Eleonora. Oh, nice and early, but she's doing well.
How old is she now?
Oh, depends when you
Yeah,
think how
but she
old
was
should
supposed
she
to
be.
be-
She was born 100 days premature.
Wow. She's doing
Ridiculous. Yeah, it was a bit of a scare for everybody, but she's doing great now.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Liz?
Field days is always the highlight.
It's my
Liz?
summer job.
Yeah.
Field days, field days. is-
Field days, your son had a pretty serious surgery this summer.
Yes,
He's
he
doing
did.
okay?
He's doing great.
That's good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for sharing.
I think she said field days, that's my
Field days.
summer job.
Yeah.
As soon as school's out in June, I start
There you
full-time. So it was
My
a
daughter got
very
married
busy
on
week.
July 5th up at the mountaintop, and it was a weekend. Great time. And everybody from Jersey are like very excited and gonna come back there. They could horseback ride. There was just so many things to do, which was great. And this Tuesday, my son is completing his 6-month American Welding Institute, and he's graduating. Yay! And he has a job already, which is even better. But anyway, so, and had so many offers. It was unbelievable the amount of companies that came in and were looking for welding people. So it was really nice. I can't recommend that school enough to, and we'll thank Dylan, because that kind of got him on the road to being introduced to welding and beyond Mount Abe, and understanding that that was something he could do, and have a livable wage with benefits in Vermont. How refreshing. Anyway, and that was kind of it. And my husband had a week-long sailing excursion on Lake Champlain alone, and that was a real plus for me. I will admit. But anyway, I mean, he recovered. It's good, but anyway. And Nicole, what did you do?
We spent the summer doing college visits, which was wonderful. And did early apply, or no, early application.
Acceptance.
And to his number one, which was Oregon Technical Institute, and he got in. And they gave him the presidential scholarship largely because of his work in getting his EMR and his FFA experience and his skills experience. So he is set, and it's nice to go into your senior year with some certainty instead of that ambiguity you're usually living with. But it was really fun. It was very gratifying to see all the campuses and to really see the impact and the power of what he did here, which was taken so seriously there. So he got an $18,000 scholarship. That was a big deal.
Judd, did you have any time off this summer to do something fun? Maybe with your family or anything?
No time off, but I have been doing lots of fun stuff. And actually, we were just on the news. There's Shelburne Farms is rebuilding all these stone walls, and I'm on the crew that's doing that. So it's been lots of fun.
So you're actually working for them now, or is this for the?
Working for the company that's doing the walls.
Awesome.
They're out of Ferrisburg.
Who's,
There's gonna be an event there next week. So
Oh, you'll have to check them out.
Yeah, there's actually a school on the Cape, and I shared it with the website for, here in Hannaford. I try and pick up the different educational things, and this was a summer program where they learned how to build a stone wall. And you could see it behind them, how proud they were of it, without any, glue, whatever, any cement, and just freestanding. So it was really kind of interesting thought about how to introduce the trades and, math skills, all the other stuff that went along with it. So for them to actually see, visualize was pretty cool. So awesome. How many people working on it?
There's usually at least 2, sometimes 3 masons. And then each mason, there's a person that's dedicated to them for keeping them supplied with the mortar And then I get the cushy job, I get to run the excavator all day, so that's fun.
Somebody has to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, sometimes it gets very cold in there.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's,
Yeah, that's my neighbor, you know, oh, I have air conditioning, yeah, okay, keep digging. You know. And a nice sound system, I'm hoping you have that.
Yep, oh yeah, all that.
Thank you for sharing. Executive session, I need a motion to do that.
Don't have my cheat sheet with me.
Is this the one that requires 2 or no?
Way to go, Laura, thank you.
It's too different.
All right.
We don't say all that stuff, you know.
We have to, someone for the SBA.
But it says 13A1, so that should be at the top of the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a finding?
I move to find that premature general public knowledge regarding the labor relations agreement with employees / pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution. Clearly places the board at a substantial disadvantage because the board risks disclosing its negotiation strategy if it discusses the superintendent's contract the above mentioned issues in public.
Second that motion?
We have to vote on that, right? Or no?
Yes.
Yes.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. The second part is, go ahead.
I move to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing labor relations agreements with employees / pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution under 1 VSA 313A1.
Second?
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye. Oh, are you inviting anyone?
Yeah, who can stay?
Oh. Who am I inviting?
Nicole.
We're inviting Nicole to stay, please, and thank you.